Today, the Litter Media cameras are visiting the Ross County Heritage Center, which tells the story of the founding of Ohio as a state, and Chillicothe's place in doing so, from being the capital of the great Northwest Territory to presiding as Ohio's first capital. Our guide is Tom Kuhn, director of the Ross County Historical Society.
Well, we cover a lot of ground. Our museum has exhibits on prehistoric cultures. This area along the Scioto River was a cradle of civilization dating back probably at least 10,000 years, but probably more than that. And we have artifacts in our exhibits that tell that story, as well as more recent history. And when I say that, I mean dating back to the Northwest Territory and early Ohio statehood. Our primary mission is to tell the story of this area and how it relates to the state of Ohio, the United States. We cover how Ohio became a state and Chillicothe being the first state capital. So you can go from there and go all the way through pretty much up to almost the present time. This year and this past year, we've been specifically focused on the 100th anniversary of the U.S. entry into World War I and the construction of Camp Sherman, which was an Army camp that was built here in the summer of 1917 to train draftees from Ohio and western Pennsylvania. And so we have actually 3 exhibits on that topic in the museum right now. So people interested in learning a little bit more about World War I, you can learn a lot when you come here.
I think one thing that surprises people most is when they walk in, they see vehicles. And some of those vehicles were manufactured here in Chillicothe. And I think people were surprised that at one time we used to make cars.
Well, it's nice now. We have the relatively new Heritage Center building that we built back in 2003 as part of Ohio's bicentennial, which allows us to exhibit a lot of our larger collections, including our vehicles, most of which had been in storage before we constructed that building. So we have everything from a Conestoga wagon up to a 1906 Logan automobile, which was made right here in Chillicothe, and probably one of the very few of those still in existence.
And you've even got the bandwagon.
We actually had that in several parades. We had it restored right before Chillicothe's bicentennial parade in 1996. The very next day after we got it back, it was in the parade with a Civil War era band playing in it. But now it's on permanent exhibit in the Heritage Center. We have an HO scale diorama of the intersection of Paint and Water Street back in 1803 to give people an idea of what the town looked like. And that was kind of the focal point of the town at that time. And so you can look at that. We have a much larger diorama of the east side of Chillicothe, what it looked like back during the heyday of railroading back in the 1920s and 30s. And that's a lot of fun for people to see as well. People that remember that, as well as younger people who weren't around then, and they get to see that and they think, wow, we didn't realize that there was such a large presence of the railroads right here in Chillicothe as there was back then.
And being a river city, a lot of transportation, canal-wise, trains, you've got all that documented here.
Transportation was an important factor in the development of this area, of course. The early river transportation on the Scioto River, and then following that, the canals that came in the 1830s, and then by the 1840s and 50s, railroads. Those stories are all told right here in our exhibits.
And the interesting personalities. For instance, we're in the portrait room right now. many famous oil paintings. Not only that, but Washington's been here. You have all sorts of historic personalities documented too.
Correct, and I'm sitting right next to you, probably can't see on camera, but that is Edward Tiffin's settee. Edward Tiffin, of course, being the first governor of the state of Ohio. We're surrounded by portraits of people who were important in the early development of Chillicothe, Ross County, and the state of Ohio, right here in our portrait gallery. And throughout the museums, you'll see other pieces of art that are of people who were important in the history of our area. It's always a challenge to make people aware of what they have in their own communities. We all seem to feel that history took place someplace else. And when we look around, we don't have to go very far to realize that we're surrounded by it. And we always like to joke around, maybe somewhat seriously at times, that we can be the best kept secret in Chillicothe. And our job is try to convince everyone else in the area to come pay us a visit. And we are open to everybody. We're by no means an exclusive club. And we hope that everybody will take advantage of us being here.
Visitors can enjoy a free open house of the Ross County Heritage Center, as well as Adena Mansion and Gardens, the Lucy Webb Hayes, and David Nickens Heritage Centers on the first Saturday of March for Statehood Day weekend. The regular operating hours for the Ross County Heritage Center are 1 to 5 p.m. from the month of April through December. Learn more at rosscountyhistorical.org. I'm Dan Ramey, Litter Media.